Good morning, Carla. Good morning, everybody.
Good morning, Caroline. Good morning, podcast listeners.
Oh, that was very
It was, wasn't
formal.
it?
I know,
I'm very
wasn't it?
formal today. How lovely to be here with you all.
How lovely to be here. I wish I could say the same for the weather, although I'm not talking about the weather anymore.
Have we decided it's off? Is it off limits, the subject to the weather?
No, I said I was filming a day in the life video the other day, and I said I'm just not going to talk about the weather because I edit videos and find myself wanging on about how bloody awful the weather is, and I'm sick of listening to it.
It was gorgeous yesterday. I think the frustration about the thing is that we don't get consistency.
It wasn't gorgeous here. It was.
Oh, it was beautiful here yesterday.
We had a couple of hours nice in the morning. Oh, we're talking about the weather, you see. We had a couple
we're,
of hours
we're
nice.
British. It's what we do.
Yeah, it's true. A couple of hours nice in the morning, and then it went horrible again.
No, we're the other way round.
But we did go
It
out
was
for a
nice.
very nice Sunday lunch.
Oh, where did you go?
We went to a place in Exeter. We took Ashley's mum,
Hmm.
and we had a very nice long Sunday lunch. We got there at 2, and I think we got home about 5:30.
Well, you're finding you have to book in advance for Sunday lunch to get one anywhere these days.
I think you have to book everything in advance these
Yeah.
days.
The
Yeah,
number of times Mum and I have gone to try and find a Sunday lunch and discovered that if you haven't booked, if your name's not down, you're not coming in, and that's the end of it.
yeah. Well, the place we went to a few months ago on the off chance we were out and about on a Sunday, and Ashley said, "Oh, should we go and try get Sunday lunch there?" And I said, "Oh, yeah," and they were like, "Have you booked?"
Yeah, they look at you as if
No.
you're. No,
Oh,
it's
we'll have to see if we can squeeze you in. And they did actually, but yeah, the lesson there was I'm never going to go there without booking a table in advance again.
yeah, yeah. The problem with Mum is she never knows where she wants to go until about 2 minutes before she wants to go there.
Ah, that's problematic.
So there's one particular place that she really likes going. It's in Nails, and I think it's called the Old Farmhouse. So maybe some listeners will know it. And the Old Farmhouse in Nails, it's lovely. It's a very nice pub. They do a very nice meal. They do a lovely Sunday lunch, but on a Sunday they are always packed to the rafters.
Yeah.
And we've been there on a Thursday many a time when on a Thursday you can tend to just wander in and get a table. But when I started going to Mum's on a Sunday instead of a Thursday, she kept saying, "Oh, can we go to the Old Farmhouse today?" And I was like, "Mum, we can't get in. We've tried there a couple of times and we just can't get in on a Sunday. If you want to do that, you need to let me know a few days in advance and I'll book it." But she never does.
Yeah, it's I suppose it's good from the point of view if they know how many bums on seats they're going to have, and it avoids food waste and perhaps cuts down on
I
costs and
suppose
stuff.
specifically for Sunday roasts, you need
Yeah,
forward planning, don't you? Really, yeah.
yeah, or at least a rough idea. I mean, it doesn't
The
have to be.
majority of the other stuff is going to come out of the freezer, or
Yeah.
you can guesstimate it, can't you? But Sunday roast, I suppose, yeah, yeah. We're
Anyway,
going out tonight. I'm very excited about tonight. I'm going out with the four T's, the four tops. I'm thinking of changing my
parties.
name to Carla because I'm going out tonight with Tina, Tammy, Tamsin, and Tracy. And I feel like I don't belong.
It sounds like a girl band.
Yeah,
You're not going to
Carla and the four T's.
karaoke, are you?
Carla and the four T's. I get to be the lead singer, and they'll have to be the backing group. But yeah, we're going to Casa Brazil, Casa Brasilia or Casa Brazil. I'm not sure which it's called, and it's in Cabot Circus,
Mm.
and it is slabs of meat essentially. So they have a salad buffet and I think some pasta bits, and they come round to your. Caroline's getting all excited. They come round to your table with huge skewers of meat, and they carve it off at your table, and you have a little card on your table. And when you've got enough, you turn your card over and they stop coming. But if you leave your card up, they keep on coming with huge skewers of meat, and it's
I
just great.
think I've been to this place, but in Cardiff. Have they got another branch in Cardiff?
I'm sure they've got more than one branch. Yeah.
Hang on. Actually, you remember we went to that place in Cardiff with all the skewers of meat they bring round to your table? Was that called Casa Brazil? Yes.
Yes. Yes. Well,
Yes.
we've been once or twice before. I think I've been twice before, and it's so much fun. We haven't been for years. We haven't been since pre lockdown is the last time we went there.
Mm.
So yeah, I'm quite excited about it.
Yeah,
So
we went for a weekend in Cardiff or a couple of days in Cardiff a long time ago with Will when he was, oh, I don't know, maybe 12 or 13, and he thought it was the best place he'd ever been. He couldn't believe all these slabs of meat.
yeah,
He's a big fan of steaks and meat and everything. And
yeah. It's
yeah,
fun as well, isn't it? The whole
yeah, it's a bit
it's
different,
something a
isn't
bit
it?
different. Yeah.
Yeah, yeah, really good. Oh, have a nice time. I hope you enjoy it.
So yeah, I'm going out with my backing group tonight.
Is it a special occasion? Someone's birthday?
No, no, it is literally just the fact that one Tamsin put it on Facebook. Oh, I'm really fancying going there, and I replied, "Oh, Tammy and I have been talking about going back. We should do it." And before you knew it, we were doing it. So
Ah, there you go. The best laid plans and all that.
yeah, yeah.
Excellent. And how's the work going? 'Cause you've changed to evenings now, haven't you?
I am really enjoying working the evenings. Really enjoying
Oh,
that. I'm
that's
loving
good.
having my days back, and the evenings are quite quiet. I'm able to get stuff done. In the evenings, I've even been able to take my laptop in and do a bit of editing while I'm there as well.
Oh,
Because if there
brilliant.
aren't any customers, I mean, obviously, I wouldn't do that if there were people in. But if there aren't any customers, then yeah. So I'm really enjoying it. Really, yeah.
Does that mean though that if there's not any customers and it's very quiet that they'll stop doing evenings?
Possibly, possibly they may decide that it's not valid
Yeah,
to stay open. So
but make the most of it while it lasts, I guess.
yeah, yeah. I'm enjoying it so far. I'm liking having my days back. So.
Yeah, it's good.
Hmm. And you've just got back from Greece,
I have, yes.
but you did say you didn't have the best weather there either, even though we're not going to talk about the weather.
I've have you quite clearly haven't watched my vlog from Greece, have you? I'm offended now.
When did that go up?
Yesterday.
No, I haven't seen anything from yesterday. I didn't watch anything yesterday. It was nice weather yesterday here. I sat out on my sun lounger,
Oh, your new sturdy sun lounger.
my new sturdy sun lounger. So yeah, I haven't
Splendid.
watched any YouTube since about Saturday, Friday, I think.
No, it was. We had 3 lovely days of sunshine. Chilly in the evening, but you expect that at this time of year. And that William and Georgie were with us for the first 5 days, so
Mhm.
we didn't. I didn't film anything. I didn't want to film while they were there. I just wanted to
Yeah,
enjoy, spending time with them. And I thought, oh, I'll do the vlog at the last couple of days before we go home after we've dropped them back to the airport and they've gone. And of course, by the time they left, it turned to not very nice weather at all. So I
yeah,
didn't film in that. I felt like I didn't show it in its best light really, but yeah, it was very soggy, cloudy, chilly, but we still had a nice time. It's lovely to be away.
yeah,
It's nice to
yeah.
change of routine and ate nice food and stayed in a really nice place and looked at this. We were staying right on the seafront, so it was beautiful.
Mm,
But yeah, always nice to get away. Decent weather would have been an added bonus, but you pay
yeah,
your money and you take your choice, don't you?
yeah, yeah.
Hmm.
And how did you sleep while you were away, Caroline?
Well, first of all, it didn't help that I didn't take my HRT patches. I completely forgot to take them, despite the fact I have a packing list. How
Mm,
very Virgo of me, with tick boxes to tick off each thing as I packed it. I ticked HRT and I'd completely failed to pack it. So I had no HRT the whole time I was there.
oh no.
So I thought that was going to be problematic. But in actual fact, I slept quite well, considering.
Oh,
Yeah, I'm still
you
taking
just
my.
come off the HRT.
Well, I was worried that I was going to feel all those sort of muddled and anxious and all those other
Mm,
things that I was feeling before I started taking HRT. But I think I wasn't off it for it was only a week, and I slapped a
yeah,
patch on as soon as I got home. Obviously, I'm also only on the lowest dose of HRT, so I guess it wouldn't have been quite as much of a jolt to the system stopping taking it as
yeah.
it would be if you're on a high dose of it. But yeah, it was actually all right. And yes, I slept well. I had very comfortable bed, which helped. And
Mm,
Ashley didn't do too much snoring, which also helped.
excellent. Either that or you slept through it.
But yeah, that's a possibility
That's
as
that's that
well.
thing, isn't it? You think, did he not snore or did I just not hear it? I went for years saying, "Oh, my children were very good. They slept through the night from a very early age." And then I thought to myself a few years later, I wonder if they did. Did they sleep through the night or did I just sleep through them being awake? Because you don't know, do you? And back in the day, these were the days before you had baby monitors with cameras on and whatever.
God, yeah. It's
I
funny,
hope
isn't
they
it,
slept through the night because I did.
yeah, when you see all the paraphernalia people need, and I'm doing
Mm,
inverted commas here these days, where you this is what you need when you have a baby type of thing.
yeah.
How did we manage to bring on and again back to our parents' generation? They didn't even have half the stuff we had.
No, you just put the baby in a drawer.
Yeah.
If you heard now that somebody's baby was sleeping in a drawer, you'd be astonished. You'd be like, "Well, I think people would say it was borderline neglect." I'm not saying that I would feel that way, but I think that would be the general consensus. Would be like, "Well, that's terrible. You can't put a baby in a drawer," and yet they did. They didn't
Absolutely.
close the drawers. Anyone listening? Anyone listening, you didn't put the baby in the chest of drawers and close the drawer?
Are you sure that's what you didn't do when you didn't hear your kids
Maybe
screaming all
that's why I
night and they
didn't
were
hear them,
sleeping through the
because
night?
they were locked up in the tall boy.
Oh, they're no trouble, that Nat and Ant.
Disclaimer, I have never put my children in a drawer.
The fact you needed to say that concerns me.
There's always someone willing to believe the worst, isn't there?
But yeah, I never had a baby monitor. I think they were around when Will was little,
Yeah.
but I never had one. I sort of figured that if he cried, I'd hear him if he cried
Yeah,
loudly.
that's it. I think I had a small enough house that I wasn't going to be able to get to anywhere I wouldn't hear them crying. You know what I mean? It's, I think baby monitors are probably useful if you're going to, we were in a flat. We were in a flat when the children were little, so you were going to be able to hear them wherever you were. But maybe if you had the children upstairs and you were downstairs, it'd be useful, or if you had a bigger house. But
Yeah.
yeah, we didn't have one.
And now they have video baby monitors.
Yeah, and people sit and watch their child sleeping for hours, and I'm like, that's not my idea of good viewing.
No, absolutely not. Feel like you need a little break, don't you, when you've been
Mhm.
parenting them all day? It's good to know that they're safe in their cot upstairs or whatever.
Yeah,
And yeah, you can watch something on Netflix instead.
yeah, yeah. So we had a subject for today, and I've temporarily mislocated it within my memory bank. Have you got it?
It was. It was. Let me think. Yes, I do know because we were chatting on Saturday, weren't we? And you were off to Market Harborough, and it was about
That's how
childhood.
short my memory is.
Well, yeah, yeah. It was only 48 hours ago. Not even
Yeah.
that. It was. So it was about. I can't remember how you worded it, but it was where going back to your
It was
childhood.
about the pull, wasn't it? The pull you feel to go back to where you feel you belong, to go back to your roots, to go back home. And I'm doing the home in the
Yes.
quotation marks for those who haven't got who can't see me. But yeah, the urge to go home. This is my home. I've lived in this house 25, 26 years.
So that's
But
the longest you've ever lived anywhere, then.
yeah, but Market Harborough is my heart's home.
But you were born in Market Harborough,
I was
yeah?
born in Market Harborough, lived there till I was 4, and my grannies lived there until they died in 2022. 2022 and 2020, no, in 2000
Yeah.
and 2000. I'm going to get this right in a minute.
To say,
2002 and 2003. They died 20 years ago, is what I'm trying to say. Good Lord.
dating grannies. I was thinking you had a granny that was about 110 then.
Well, my gran lived to 103. My great gran lived to 103, and she died in 2003. She was born in 1900. She died in 2003. So
That's a
they
good
died
age.
20 years ago. And since they died, I've only been back to Market Harborough, I think twice.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 times at the most, but I think twice.
Do you
And
remember living there then? Because you left quite early at 4.
I have very, very fragmented memories of living there. So I have fragmented memories of the house we lived in when I was little. I have a couple of school fragments. I have a very random fragment from a birthday party that I attended. And then, of course, the rest of my memories that you have almost built around photographs, aren't they? You know what I mean? You
Yes.
think you remember that, actually, it's more
Yeah.
that you've seen that photograph so often that you've built a memory around it. But because my grands lived there until their death, I went back periodically through my childhood. I went back and stayed. Every
Yeah.
summer I went and stayed for a week, and we went back at Christmas to visit, and so I kept that link, I kept that bond right up until 2020, until 2002, by which time I was 29 years old.
Hmm.
So all that time, it always felt like going home. Whenever we visited, it felt like going home, even though I was reasonably happy in Chippensodbury and then reasonably happy when we moved into Bristol and whatever. Market Harborough was, and I think because as a child I was wrenched from Market Harborough against my will.
Yeah. Even though you were
So,
4.
well, yeah, but the backstory is that my birth father left when I was a year old, and my mother remarried. The man
Mm.
that I refer to as dad when I'm talking about in my videos, she remarried when I was 4, and his job took him to Bristol, and so we all moved to Bristol, and I was ripped out of my comfy little
Yeah.
roots. You know what I mean? I had to leave my school, I had to leave my friends, I had to leave my grannies. I'd been very, very close to my grannies because my mum had been a single parent in an age where you weren't It
Yeah.
wasn't easy to be a single parent in the early 70s, so she had to work, and I'd been very close to my grannies, and I was torn from that and taken
Yeah.
and transplanted elsewhere, and my heart stayed in Market Harborough. And I think that is contributory to why I feel every now and again the pull to go back. And we
Yeah.
were talking the other day, I'm very long-winded now, we were talking the other day about whether everybody feels this pull to their birthplace, weren't we? This is what we were saying.
Mm.
And
Yeah.
I think you said that your mum still lives very close to where you grew
Yeah.
up.
I can't speak. My mum lives in the next road from the house that I grew up in from the age of 4. We lived in one house a couple of miles away till I was 4, and then we moved to the house in the next road from where my mum lives now. When I was 4, my brother was just born, and my mum sold it last year and moved last
Mhm.
year. So I always had that. It was lovely that I could take William back as a baby to the
Yeah,
house that I grew up in. That was always quite a special thing to me.
yeah,
And when mum sold the house last year, obviously, she couldn't live there anymore once my dad went into care, and it was too big for her, and she wanted a bit of a fresh start, really, I guess.
mm,
And it did feel like a big wrench to me saying goodbye to that house. It felt like,
yeah,
although it was the right decision and everything, I think you do have a connection with the place you grew up in, for sure.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah. Market Harbour always feels like my childhood home, even though I actually lived in Chipping Sodbury from the age of 4 to 12. So that would be the bit where I actually was more aware of, you're more
Mm.
aware of your surroundings at 4. That would be the bit you ought to think of your childhood, and that's the bit where I have my childhood memories from friends and school, but Market Harbour feels like home. And it's very different now. It's much, much different now to how it was 40 years ago. It was a small market town when I was born there, and now it's a huge commuter town.
I've
People
never
commute
been
across
there.
to it. Yeah, it's a big town now, really big place.
Mind you, a lot of places are like that now, aren't they?
Yeah, everywhere grows outwards, doesn't it? I mean, I used to live on the edge of Bristol, and I don't anymore.
Was that really the edge of Bristol where you live?
Yeah, where I live now literally it was the edge. So I still live on the edge of Bristol as far as the county line is.
Yeah.
Yeah, but obviously the housing estates have grown up so much that I'm not the last.
Yeah, where you live feels
Yeah,
very urban now. Just thinking when I drive to your house, it's through a lot of,
yeah,
it's not like, oh, here's the edge of Bristol and here's colour on it. It
yeah.
feels
No,
like it's
it used to be. It used
central.
to be you'd drive past fields and then you'd come to us, and now you drive through
How
towns.
times
Yeah,
change.
yeah. So yeah, the Lex and I are going up to see Jack at the end of this week, and I said to Lex, would she mind if we did a bit of a detour and swung past Market Harbour on the way, because I've been feeling the pull for a few years. I've been feeling the pull since before lockdown.
Yeah.
Mum and I were talking before lockdown that we might go up. Mum doesn't have it, which is strange because she lived there for 20. Hang on, she lived there for 30 years of her life. For the first 30 years of her
Yeah.
life, she lived in Market Harbour. She doesn't have that pull that I have.
Do you have any family still there at all or not?
I've got a cousin who still lives there, but everybody else has moved. Obviously, my grannies have died.
Yeah.
Uh, my auntie moved away. My other cousins moved away. My birth father is still somewhere in the Leicestershire area. If he's alive, he's probably not alive. Let's face it.
Yeah.
He's older than my mum. He'd be 77. So maybe he's
Yeah.
alive. Who knows? But I have family that I don't know. I have family that I've never met. Makes me very careful to think if I ever met a man who said he came from the Leicestershire area, I'd look very carefully at the family tree before I got into bed with him. Just in case. Just in case we turned out to be cousins or brothers or something.
I'm
Well,
hoping
I'm
if
his mother.
I'm hoping if he was 77, you wouldn't get into bed
No,
with him
no,
anyway.
I meant that he's
You know,
got a family.
each to his own.
No, I meant that he had children after he and my mum divorced. He went on and had another family. So somewhere I have half brothers and sisters and
Ah,
half nieces and nephews and so on and so forth.
okay. Thank you for that
But I would be
clarification.
equally reticent about jumping into bed with a 77-year-old man from the Leicestershire area.
I mean, you do you, whatever. I'm not judging.
Oh dear. Age gap relationships are perfectly valid. It's 2023.
Absolutely.
But but not so much with your own father. Not
If
not
you
not
if
quite
you
so
want to
much.
take up with a chicken, you can do these days.
As long as the chicken's happy about it.
Well, yes.
But yeah, so so we talked, mum and I talked about going up a few years ago, and I don't think she's that bothered. She's not brought it up again. She's not mentioned it. But I want to go back, and this could be my last time.
Yeah. Your mum quite likes her comfort zone though, doesn't she?
Yeah,
She's very much a homebody sort of thing, isn't she?
yeah, yeah,
So perhaps it's the so you're going to see Jack, did you say? But Jack's in
yeah.
Harrogate, am I right?
York.
York.
I think he works in Harrogate and lives in York.
Ah.
It might
York's
be
meant
the
to
other
be
way around.
lovely.
Might be the other way around. So I hope he's going to give us a postcode before we set off.
Yeah, you could just be randomly driving down around the north of
Yeah.
England.
York is absolutely. If you've never been to York, I thoroughly. It's a beautiful, beautiful city.
I've
Yeah,
never
York
been
is.
to York.
It's beautiful. If you and Ashley are thinking of a city break, you could go to York. It's lovely. It's a gorgeous place.
We
But
were
go in the
going to
summer.
go. We were actually booked to go to York in lockdown year, and we ended up going to Greece instead, which I realise sounds ridiculous, but it was when they did that absolutely ridiculous thing where different parts of the country had different rules. We're all
Those,
in
those are the
zones.
yeah.
It all sounds a bit sci-fi-ish now when you look back, doesn't it?
But it's strange how much we've forgotten about it, haven't we? About
Yeah,
you
yeah.
could if you lived in Wakefield, you could go out. If you lived in Doncaster, you had to stay at home and stuff like that. It was
It was exactly like that, and they put wherever York was, Yorkshire, I expect, into one of these high, a more risky zone.
mm,
And we were in a different zone down here that became more difficult to travel, and it was actually easier to go to Greece. But so we
yeah.
never got to York, but I was really looking forward to going because it's somewhere that I fancy going for a long time.
It's really nice, but like I said, it's nicer in the summer because the river rises quite badly in the bad weather, and obviously the nicer hotels are the ones that you get along the riverbank.
Mm.
But in the summer they flood. In the winter they flood. So we stayed in. I've been to York several times and stayed in a hotel right on the river, and I can't think of the name of it. It's got the word Queens in it, but I can't think of the full name. And basically, every now and again, you get a phone call to you and going, just to let you know, if your car is in the underground car park, we do recommend that you move it because the river is rising tonight. And then in the next morning, you could see the person who hadn't moved their car standing outside the flooded
Oh
car
my
park
God.
going,
Oh no. So how long are you going for?
only 2 nights. We go on the Thursday morning, we come back on the Saturday evening. Next needs to be back in time for Eurovision.
Is she in it?
She's the UK entry. I've heard Lex sing. No offense, Lex, but nul point. But no, I think she's got a Eurovision party. I think she goes to every year. So
Oh, okay.
yeah, so she's looking forward to that. So yeah,
Eurovision's quite a thing now, isn't it? People get quite it's become not fashionable, that's the wrong word, but more popular again. I remember when
yeah,
we were kids,
it
Eurovision was something and
was a bit
nothing.
naff, yeah, but now I
Yeah,
think it's become um
the sort
not
of camp
cultish. It's
aspect.
not cultish. The word I want is it? It's
The sort of camp aspect, I think, appeals to
yeah.
people, doesn't it? I think it's quite.
I can't think of the word.
Kirsten loves it. Kirsten's always watching Eurovision and
Yeah,
putting points on, giving everything points, and she really enjoys it.
yeah, yeah. I've not got a lot of interest in it, but yeah, Lex wants to be back for it,
Oh, and I
so
hope
that's
you
the
have a
plan.
lovely time. That should be nice.
Fingers crossed for some decent what we don't talk about weather.
Well, it can't be much worse than today, I wouldn't have thought.
It's very dreary here today.
It's a typical British bank holiday, is it not?
Yeah, I've splodged around with the dogs up at the field, and that's me done for a bit now.
Yes, I have to say it doesn't. It's not looking particularly appealing. I can't imagine myself leaving the house today.
No,
Have you? I was watching a video of yours yesterday,
that's
and
kind of you because I haven't watched yours.
I think it was from a few days ago. I'm playing catch up, but you talked about a book that you'd really enjoyed reading,
Yes,
and it
it's
sounded so
this
good.
is how it this is how it always is.
This is how it always is, and who's it by?
I think I've still got it here somewhere, although here it is. Would you like to borrow it before I move it on?
Um, yes, I wouldn't mind actually.
Yeah,
That would be great.
I'll pop it down to you, and then when you're done with it,
We'll just bring it down, and you're coming in 2 weeks, so.
I'm coming in 2 weeks. Yeah, when you're done with it, somebody else in the comments wants it, so
Oh, okay.
I'll pass it on to them. So
Well, I can
yeah,
send it on when I've finished it if you want to.
yeah, I'll get the address and drop you some postage or whatever, and you can send it on to them. That'd be great.
Perfect.
Thoroughly
Yes.
enjoyed it. Thoroughly enjoyed it.
I'm reading
Really,
a Jeffrey Archer book at the moment.
I've never read him.
He's a really good storyteller. He really weaves that, like oh God, I'll finish a sentence in a minute. Don't hang around waiting for that to happen.
Edit.
Sorry. He's sort of a storyteller in the same way that Stephen King is a storyteller, or Rudyard Kipling. They just have a talent for telling a story and drawing you in to it.
Mm.
And I haven't read one of his for years and years and years, probably 10 years, but I just had one on my Kindle that I must have got for 99p in a Kindle sale or something. And I thought, oh, I'll start that on the plane. And it just whiled away the plane journey really quickly. It was very, very good. And I
Oh,
can't
I don't even know what genre he writes. Is it thrillers or?
No, not really. Sort of. It's difficult to pigeonhole him. Actually, this particular book, it starts in 1968, and it's about a boy who lives in Russia and his family, and then it goes into sort of a sliding doors thing. So there's one story. He and his mother escape from Russia on a boat. They work at the
Mhm.
docks, and they escape from Russia. And in one side of the story, it's alternate chapters. In one side of the story, they escape on a boat to London, and on the other side, they escape on a boat to America. It's the late 60s, Cold War
Hmm.
time, and it's what happens each side. I don't know if the story will come back together because I'm only about halfway through at
So
the
it
moment.
jumps back and forth.
No, it goes in one timeline, but each chapter, one chapter is the story as it happens in London, and one chapter is the story as it happens in America. So you don't know which one is real. Whether that
Hmm.
becomes apparent at some later date.
I don't know if my brain would cope with it.
Yeah, I have to say, if I'm reading it in bed at night when I'm tired, I have to really concentrate. It's
Yeah,
more of a
yeah.
daytime book, but he writes some really good of his older books. I really enjoyed them. The Prodigal Son and The Prodigal Daughter. They probably haven't aged that well because they must be 30, 40 years old now, I would think.
Hmm.
But he keeps
I wonder
churning them out.
when you write a story like that that has two timelines running concurrently, two stories running along one timeline. I wonder how they write it. I wonder whether they write the whole of the one book and then the whole of the second fork in the road, so to speak, and then mix them in together, or whether they write them one chapter at a time. So the London chapter, the American chapter, the London. No,
No,
wonder how they.
I think you'd have to write. I think you'd have to sort of plan out the story. So you'd
Hmm.
have to have an idea where each side was going. But I think you'd have to write all of one story first and then go back to
Hmm.
the other story and then perhaps edit them.
Yeah,
Review. I don't think you could write alternate chapters. I think that would be hard.
it's hard enough writing one book. I've written 3 chapters of one book in my life and never got any
Yeah.
further with it. Yeah, yeah, 3 chapters, and that was where I stuck.
Was it a murder
Give me that
mystery?
again, I think I'll have another go. Sorry.
Was it a murder mystery?
No, it was a kind of a like a Jill Mansell, Carol Matthews kind of style chick lit kind of
Chicklet,
thing,
rom-com.
which was what I read most of at the time when I started writing. That was the genre I read most of at that time.
Well, they
I've
say
never tried
everybody's
writing
got a
one.
book in them.
Hmm. Mine's. Well, like I said, I got as far as 3 chapters, I think, and then tailed off.
I would imagine it's quite hard.
I
I
think
sorry. Go on.
I think I was rushing through it too much. I think when I looked back on it, I was like, I shouldn't have got this far into the story in only 3 chapters. You know?
It could be a novella.
Yeah.
I
Yeah, like I
think
said,
it's,
maybe I'll take it out one day and have another look at it and see how it's aged, because it's probably 15 years since I did those 3 chapters. So
I imagine you'd be good at writing that sort of book. I think
I can barely hold a pen these days. My writing's. Do you find that your writing has deteriorated since the advent of typing most things?
oh, shocking. The only things
Oh.
I write these days, I do write to-do lists every day.
Hmm.
Well, not every day, most days. And I write cards to people, but I had a handwritten letter from a friend in the post recently, and
Hmm.
her writing was so neat in it. I thought, I don't think I could write a letter.
No,
And
I don't think I could. I think it would be very quickly become scrawl.
yeah, I wonder how that reflects in learning to write these days because
Hmm.
they have iPads and stuff in schools from the age of about 5, I think, don't they? Certainly the school I worked in had iPads for
Yeah,
all the kids.
and
Or
all of the shortcuts these days don't help either when it comes to your literacy, really. Because, for example, when I wanted to reply to a text this morning, I just spoke my words. I didn't even bother trying to type.
Yeah, voice
I
notes.
just did, yeah, just did, and yeah, so you give up bothering, don't you? Because it's all so easy.
You won't even have to speak the words soon with ChatGPT and all this AI. You'll probably just think and it will send it for you.
That's terrifying, isn't it? Absolutely terrifying.
It is. I think it's going to have long term a big effect on jobs and the economy and that
Mm.
sort of thing. And yeah, I don't like the modern world very much.
No, I don't. I don't.
And
But
thus,
luckily, I shan't have to live in it for more than about another 20 years at best. So, you know.
oh God,
On
right.
that cheery note,
Yes,
shall we wind up, or have you got
I suppose we probably should. Yes.
anything exciting that you wanted to add? Have I think I've done most of the talking today. I don't think I've let you get a word in edgeways.
I don't think I had anything particularly exciting to say, so you're all right. Um,
It's been fun.
oh, I tell you what we have got to say. We are going to switch to fortnightly.
Yes.
Yes, we've decided that we don't have enough to say of interest on a weekly basis. Well, I decided that I didn't really. Carla thought she had enough to say for twice a week.
Quite enough to say all the time. I've got far too much to say, as most people would tell you.
So yeah, we're going to switch to fortnightly for a bit and see how that goes. And yeah, but I
Yeah.
hope you're still enjoying it, and I hope everybody's had a good week, and I hope we get some springtime weather that we're not talking about. You
Yeah.
know,
No,
more than an hour at a time would be nice,
yeah. Just 2 days running of the same weather would be a delight, wouldn't it?
wouldn't it? Yeah,
Not, not,
really.
not not this weather. 2 days running of good weather. I'm sorry.
Yeah, just I mean, you look at the long-term forecast on your phone, and it's like just literally every day cloud, cloud, rain, cloud, cloud, bit of sun.
Yeah.
And it's not good for my mental health. I need to see sunshines on that thing.
Maybe we're
Oh,
going to get a glorious summer to compensate.
well, it needs to hurry up.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Indeed.
And on that note, yes, let's wind this up. We'll see you all in a fortnight. Thank you for listening.
Bye.
Bye.